Hi. So I wanted to come on here and talk about the whole controversy with Whoopi Goldberg um, and her comments on The View about the Holocaust not being about race but ethnicity. Or I don't think she said that. I think she switched and said ethnicity, but she originally said it was about mankind hating mankind because they were both white. Um, I don't think she's 100% wrong. She's obviously very wrong, but I wanted to help people understand where she's coming from, especially being black. Black people, at least for me, and this is probably for a lot of black people, um, we don't have a lot of anti-Semitic views. I didn't grow up hearing people saying anything bad about Jews or feeling attacked by Jews or anything like that, because for us, they're just white people. I think when I got older, I started hearing things like that, but the stereotypes about Jewish people, I knew what Jewish people were. I'm Christian, so I knew Jesus was Jewish even as a child. Um, and I knew that people did not like Jews and they persecuted them, but I didn't understand why. And ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to understand why people did not like Jews, because to me, they were white people. To me, as a 5, 6, 7, 8 year old. Excuse me. Um, and so for a long time, since I was a kid, I had always wondered, okay, but how do they know that they're Jewish? Do they have to wear, I just was always so curious about how do they even know? Um, you know, and I later know, okay, well, they have last names. They can see that. They can look at records and tell. Um, I guess in my mind, I'm like, how did a lot of these Jewish people get caught? Like, I guess it was just pride and like, hey, I am Jewish. I will not hide who I am. Um, and so I just always had that curiosity, like, why? Why did they not like them? How could they even tell that they were Jewish? And I think when we put our American mind frame, especially for black people, because here in the United States, we know our history here. We're the ones that stick out the most. Truth is that it doesn't really matter what country you're from. There's always going to be a hatred for a specific community in every country. Probably since the beginning of time, people have always hated their neighbors, and always felt superior than their neighbors. For black people, it's just very easy to point us out because we're obviously very different than Europeans. We're living in a country where it's a melting pot of different races. So, if we wanted to point it out that we're better than people, we can point at these people and just, attach all these, lies or stereotypes to this and say, these are how these people are. This is why we don't like them. So when it comes to Jews, which is one of the biggest, craziest, racist thing that has happened on human history, the Holocaust. And like I said, Jews have been dealing with this for a long time. I mean, if you read the Bible, it's literally, they're dealing with that even 3,000, 4,000 years ago. It's just something that's always happened. And so the reason why it's hard for black people to understand, like I said, it's just because we're taking our understanding and applying it to the world. We're taking our 300, 400 years of being in this country and applying that understanding to the entire world, which is, first of all, a criticism. It's a kind of reflection of the education in this country. We act like the world started when, when the Mayflower landed in America, or when Christopher Columbus came here. That's how we learn history. So, black people we understand history. Our history is when we arrived to the United States. We don't understand anything before that because there's not really a lot of documentation of our history before that. And then, like I said, the education teaches you like that. So it's very difficult. I don't know why it's difficult for people to think outside of the box, outside of the country, to understand, like, hey, Americans are not the only people who've dealt with racism. Americans are not the only people who have colonized people. This isn't new. The world is old. Civilization is over 10,000 years old. This is not new. So as I became older, became older and still wondering these questions, why did the Germans, I'm going to say the Germans, not Nazis, why did the German people hate Jews? And this wasn't a German thing. This was a European thing. A lot of Europeans did not like Jewish people. They had, and I learned why. Because it just always confused me. They, just like people still believe to this day, believe that they were trying to take over the world, that they were trying to take over their community, that they were trying to, they were stealing money, they were taking over the banks, they were gaining power. And people say it's because they believe that they were inferior to whites. They believe that they were superior. They believed that they were getting a lot of power and that they were evil. That was the conclusion I came up with. Like, okay, so it's the same stuff people believe today? Like, for the last, 500, 1,000 years since banks exist, since, I don't know if it started when it didn't start there, but let's say the modern understanding why people don't like Jews is because people believe that they own all the banks and they're controlling things and they're doing things behind the scenes. That's pretty much what they believed. It didn't start off as we don't like them because they come from the Middle East. They didn't like them because they, for whatever reason, they believed they were taking over and destroying their communities or whatever. That was a very European thing. That wasn't excluded to Germany. A lot of European countries believe that. Germany decided to take it a step further and do something about it. And then it turned into a racist thing where it was like, we need to be pure Germans. Let's get rid of anything that's not German. Let's get rid of the Jews, because why? The Jews look white just like us. We want to get rid of that. We want blonde hair, blue-eyed people. We want to, obviously there's German people who were not blonde hair and blue-eyed, and they were German, and they weren't Jewish. But, they didn't get killed for not, they tried to, they wanted to purify the race, clean it all up. So that's why, and like I said, it's hard for us to understand that because we are in our bots of the United States. We don't get good education. We are taught like America is, even to this day, is liberal as things has become, is even getting worse, to be honest. In the past, we didn't learn history very well, and it was just very based on the United States. And to this day, it's still the same. It's just more in a leftist view, and it's still surrounding America, what we understand. So then we sound really dumb to say things like the Holocaust wasn't about race because there was no black people involved because they looked the same. So it had nothing to do with that, as if the Holocaust is a unique thing. It is unique, but the idea of people not liking somebody because they're from another culture, another ethnicity, another race, or whatever, that is not new. That has been here since people walked on the earth. People have hated their brother. If you want to go to the beginning of the Bible talking about it, Cain killed Abel. That was his brother. He didn't like him. He was jealous. Cain didn't like Abel because he was doing better. And so he killed him. So if we're going to talk about where it started at the very beginning. And we're going to keep doing it because people are evil. Not everybody's going to do it, obviously. But it's not going anywhere. We can keep teaching people, and I think the best thing to do is keep teaching, educating people. And you know what? I think the best education is to stop teaching people that we're a bunch of different races when we're not. We're different ethnicities, we're different cultures, but we're not a bunch of different races. So, I think Whoopi has that wrong. I think a lot of people in the education have it wrong, that we're a bunch of different races. The KKK believes we're a bunch of different races. Nazis believe we're a bunch of different races. If we were a bunch of different races, we wouldn't be able to procreate with each other. We're all the same. Okay, until one of us, produce a mule type of creature where they can't reproduce, then we can say that there's something, different. We just all look different. We're like horses. You can get a horse from one country and a horse from another country. They may look a bit different, but they can still mate. They can still make babies. So, yeah, get rid of this whole idea that we're a bunch of different races. We're the human race. We're all different. We all look different, but we're still all human. So, this whole racist thing, get it out of your head. We're not a bunch of racists. Get it, racist? Get it? Because now we're racist. Because we believe in race. That we were all different races. Now we're all racist. Anyways, that's all I wanted to share. That's all I want to share. Help people understand. I understand where Whoopi's coming from, but she's obviously wrong. And yeah, thank you for listening.